والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار وخلق الجان من مارج من نار فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان رب المشرقين ورب المغربين فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان يخرج منهما اللؤلؤ والمرجان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان وله الجوار المنشآت البحر كالأعلام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان يسأله من في السماء وما في الأرض كل يوم هو في شأن فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان سنفرغ لكم أيها الثقلان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان يا معشر الجن والإنس إني استطعتم أن تنفذوا من أقدار السماوات والأرض فانفذوا لا تنفذوا إلا بسلطان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان يرسل عليكما شوظ من نار ونحاس فلا تنتصران فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فإذا انشقت السماء فكانت وردة كالدهان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيومئذ لا يسأل عن ذنبه إنس ولا جان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان يعرف المجرمون بسيماهم فيؤخذ بالنواسي والأقدام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان هذه الجنة التي يكذب بها المجرمون يطوفون بينها وبين حميم آن فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان ولمن خاف مقام ربه جنتان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان ذواتا أفنان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيها عينان تجريان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيها من كل فاكهة زوجان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان متكئين على فرش بطائنها من استبرق وجنى الجنتين دان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيهن قاصرات الطرف لم يطمثهن إنس قبلا ولا جان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان كأنهن الياقوت والمرجان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان هل جزاء الإحسان إلا فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان ومن دونهما جنتان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان مدهامتان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيهما عينان نضاختان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيها فاكهة والنخل الورمان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان فيهن خيرات حسان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان مقاصر حور مقصورات في الخيام فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان لم يطمثهن إنس قبلا ولا جان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان متكئين على رفرف خضر وعبقري حساب فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان تبارك اسم ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Thank you, Brother Ali. Those who don't know, Ali is only 10 years old, and I think he broke the record for the most amount of ayats recited before our program. 78 ayahs recited. MashaAllah. Let's send another salawat for Brother Ali. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Before I continue with my announcements and whatnot, I want to ask the lovers of Imam Hussein, whoever says, Labbaika ya Hussein, we're here for you, Imam Hussein, whoever claims to be a Husseini, to please move at least 3 rows forward after 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. No more lovers of Imam Hussein. Come on. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Alhamdulillah. We have a lot of lovers of Imam Hussein here tonight. So in terms of announcements, you know that our programs begin every night at 7:45 with the Quran recitation. You know that afterward we have 2 speakers. We're blessed to have 2 speakers every single night, Imam Elahi and Brother Hussein Charara in terms of the English program, and Dr. Abu Khudr inside of the masjid for the Arabic program. And afterward we go for English Musibah and as well as English Latmiya every single night. Then we go for the Jama'ah prayers, and we have a light dinner. Now, something that you may not know is that even outside of Muharram, the masjid has nightly prayers, Jama'ah, every single day of the year. In fact, In the month of Ramadan, we even used to have Fajr prayers. But for now, let's stick to the nightly prayers. A lot of us were on summer break. So go ahead, bring your children for the nightly prayers every single night. And usually the Imam will mention a small hadith, small story that we learn as well as we pray together. We have a daily youth majlis at 6 p.m. So that's for the younger ones. I believe we're between 100 to 200 of our youth that are with us every single day, 6 p.m. This is a youth majlis run by the youth, for the youth. They do their own latmiya. The speakers are youth. The Quran reciters, the latmiya reciters, the ziyarah reciters, all of them are youth. So if you're interested in being a part of that, you can see me, you can see the office, or the Youth of Wisdom table that we have outside. You should follow us on our socials. If you're watching live here or there, you are already on our socials at IHW Connect, at Youth of Wisdom, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that, inshallah. We have, this is very important, for the brothers especially, we have probably the most memorable moment of your summer vacation happening on July 25th to 27th. This is a brothers only camp, inshallah. So we're going to be going about an hour, hour and a half away from Dearborn, Dearborn Heights. And we've rented out a cabin, Islamic cabin. This is Camp Aba Abdullah that we're going to have, inshallah. Now, it's not only like latmiya and whatnot, but there's also fun that we're going to have horseback riding, archery, shooting, things of that nature. So if you're interested, go outside tonight on the Youth of Wisdom table. You see that there's a QR code for you to scan. Do it now, as long as there's the early bird discount, or else you're going to lose that early bird discount. It's not too expensive. So inshallah, spread the word. It's meant to be a father-son camp, but if you'd like to come just by yourself as well, that is a possibility. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Ali Muhammad. Before I hand over the stage to our dear Imam, I want to mention a hadith. And this is a hadith that I mentioned on the first night of our programs. This is a hadith that we should remember, and it should make us change our activities. The hadith is from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says that man baka aw abka aw tabaka faqad wajibat lahu al-jannah. Again, man baka أو أبكى أو تباكى فقد وجبت له الجنة. Whoever cries for Imam Hussein, whoever helps others to cry for Imam Hussein, or whoever even makes an expression of crying, then Jannah becomes obligatory upon him. Now, disclaimer here, that doesn't mean you cry and then you do all sorts of haram the next day. No. We know that a lover of Imam Hussein wants Imam Hussein to love him as well. That you do good in your life, but you also come and you remember Imam Hussein. Baka is very simple. You cry for Imam Hussein in the musibah, okay, understandable. What's abka? Abka is that you're encouraging others to cry as well. How? You encourage others to come to the masjid. You share the flyer. You share the posts. There's maybe a latmiya, something that breaks your heart. You post it to your story. You send it to the family group chat. Maybe when the musibah starts, and alhamdulillah, our musibah here is in English, that you are someone that cries loudly. Maybe you're a person that says, You're a person that maybe is hitting themselves on the lap. Creating this atmosphere of aza, creating this atmosphere of sadness, of grief. That's abka. And tabaka is the most interesting of all. Imam says you don't even have to cry. Even you making the expression of crying, then you get this reward as well. What is that? That when the musibah starts, I take off my glasses, I put my head down and my hand on my eyes, over my eyes. That I'm making this expression of grief, or maybe I'm moving my body up and down a bit, that maybe I'm not able to cry. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, the tears don't dry up except that the heart is hardened. And the heart only hardens if there's an abundance of sin. That maybe tonight when we're here, and we're listening to the musibah of Muslim ibn Aqil, that maybe I've done so much haram in my life that when I hear this heart-wrenching story of Muslim, that Muslim is taken up to the castle, and then he's beheaded, and that his body's dragged through the streets of Kufa, maybe that doesn't break my heart. That means that there's so much sin in my life that it's not penetrating. So Imam says that, look, just put your head down, and maybe you need that external force. You putting your head down, your eyes are closed. Maybe that's what helps you to cry. So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he's saying he likes a majlis in which everyone is crying together. Everyone is mentioning Imam Hussein, and everyone is remembering Imam Hussein and his musibah. Last thing I want to mention is that in front of you, you see there are QR codes, right? You all have phones. You take out the camera app, you take a picture, or you scan the QR code. You're able to support the majalis of Imam Hussein. Many of you, you've seen that we're building a mosque, not a mosque, but rather a gymnasium right behind you. This is going to be a center where the message of Imam Hussein is remembered. So we encourage you to support us in this, support the majalis, that you're doing this abka that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is mentioning. You scan that QR code, you're able to donate. You go to the office, you're able to swipe your credit card, you do PayPal here. If you even want to do Bitcoin, you can send me Bitcoin and I'll be able to send it over to the masjid, inshallah. So there's no excuses for you to participate and support the majalis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. But with that said, please help me in welcoming Imam Elahi after 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
السلام ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Tonight in our traditions dedicated to Ashab al-Hussein, night of 6th of Muharram, Laylatul Ashab. People like Muslim ibn Awsajah, Habib ibn Madahir, Sa'id ibn Abdullah, Hurayr, Zuhair, Hurr al-Riyahi, Amr ibn Junada, there are companions of the Imam that they are honored in a night like tonight. And the Imam himself said, إني لا أعلم أصحابا أوفى ولا خيرا من أصحابي. These are the best people, the best companions. I don't know anyone better than these people in their vision, in their patience, in their sincerity, in their sacrifice, in their faith, and also actions. So these are people with great characteristics. Al-Basira, Al-Iman, Al-Ikhlas, Al-Amal, Al-Ita'a, all these qualities. But if you want to summarize the character of the companions of Al-Imam alayhi salam, they are the shining example of a Quranic generation. You know that we've been talking about Misbahul Huda. Imam Hussein is the light of guidance. But then the Quran also a light of guidance. Kitabul Hidayah, Imamul Hidayah. And that is why the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, Kitab Allah wa itrati. There are two legacies of light, two legacies of Hidayah, global guidance. The book of Allah and the family of the Prophet. So the companions of Imam Hussein are example of a Quranic generation. Quranic mind, Quranic heart, Quranic soul, Quranic intention, Quranic expressions, Quranic actions. They represent the ruh of Al-Quran. They read the Quran, they reflect on the Quran, and they act based on the Quran. And this is why even on the day of Ashura, Imam Hussein visiting the shuhada, any of these companions that falls on the ground, the last moment of the life, Imam is reciting a verse from the Quran. من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر. That is saying, my dear companions, you fulfilled your duty and you kept your promise and your covenant to your Lord with sincerity. You didn't change, you never change. Some of you are already gone, meeting with the Lord, and some of you in your way, and that is the mission that you are doing. Imam, in certain conditions, like when he is meeting with Habib ibn Mudahir, he is saying, لله درك يا حبيب ابن مظاهر لقد كنت فاضلا تختم القرآن في ليلة واحدة. Subhanallah. This is one of the companions of Imam Hussein who recite the Quran. He khatmul Quran in one night. I don't think any of us have this experience to recite the entire Quran in one night. And this is what Habib ibn Mudahir used to do. And Imam Hussein is testifying that and confirming that Habib recited the Quran in one night, Khatm al-Quran. It's just amazing that, I know anytime that I perform a marriage, there is a Quran. And when I ask about Muqaddam and Muakhar, the first thing say a Mus'haf. This the Mahriya, the Sadaq, the Muqaddam is a Quran. And then Muakhar, they say Hajj Baytullah or, something else. But it's amazing that the Quran is there and the Muqaddam is the Quran. But many of these couples, they never open it till the end of their life. That is heartbreaking. The second time that they read the Quran is in the funeral home. When they dead, when we are dead in our usbu and funeral, then they recite the Quran. Somebody recited for us, and it's too late because a dead body, how much you can, teach a dead body about the Quran. And by the way, the Quran was not revealed for the cemetery. Quran was revealed to tell us what is right, what is wrong, what is hidayah, what is zalala, what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. It's about our akhlaq, it's about our business, it's about our family, it's about our society. But the dead body, we recite to bless their soul, but in reality, we should think about ourselves. We are reciting it for ourselves to rise up. The Imam alayhi salam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, Man qara al-Qur'ana wa huwa shabun. If you recite the Quran and you are young, اختلت القرآن بلحمه ودمه وجعله مع السفرة الكرام البررة. Like you recite the Quran when you are young, Quran becomes part of your flesh, part of your system, part of your soul, part of your blood, that you become a Quranic person. That's extremely important. And you have heard that on the night of Muharram, when somebody, some of those soldiers and officers from the army of evil, army of Yazid, are running with their horses and coming towards the camps of Imam Hussein. And Imam asked his brother, Abul Fadl alayhi salam, Qamar Bani Hashim, Bab al-Hawa'ij, by the way, tomorrow night is the night of Abbas. Be ready for that. To honor his sense of responsibility and sense of amana and sense of ita'ah of his Imam. Imam Hussein asked his brother, Al-Abbas, to go and to see what's going on, what these people are coming here, what do they want? They told Abbas that we are done, it's finished, we cannot wait anymore. We want to finish this now. And this is like a Tasu'ah in the evening of like the 9th of Muharram. They said that whether you submit, surrender, and you express your allegiance to Yazid and take the bay'ah, and we are done. Otherwise, we want to fight now, finish, we cannot wait anymore. Abbas came back and he said, yes, brother, that is their message, that whether we do the bay'ah or they want to finish it now. Imam Hussein said, can you go and tell them if they can postpone it one more night? Give us a chance, only one more night. What is it that Imam Hussein, I mean, what do you want to do with one night? Does he want to think about surrendering? No way. Does he want to take an opportunity to flee and get out of Karbala? It's impossible. They are surrounded all over. The reason Imam said, delay this for one more night, give us one more chance, wait till tomorrow morning. This is how he justifies it. He said, لأني أحب الصلاة له وتلاوة القرآن وكثرة الدعاء والاستغفار. I want to have chance one more night to pray, one more night to recite the Quran and ask forgiveness from God and do the ibadah. كثرة الصلاة والاستغفار والقرآن. You see, Imam Hussein is serious that even in the last moment of his life, he wants to spend some time to recite the Quran. So brothers and sisters, take seriously the recitation of the Quran, reflection of the Quran, understanding of the Quran, applying the Quran in your life, whether personal, family, social, political, economic, in every aspect of your life, be a Quranic person, a Quranic family, a Quranic community, a Quranic neighborhood. Because that's all we have. That is the revelation. That is the legacy in addition to Ahlul Bayt. And especially now that you have Quran available all the time with you. You have a smartphone, right? You have access to the Quran in all the languages. You have access to Arabic Quran. If you don't know Arabic, in English. How many English translations are online that you can find in a matter of seconds? Do you know how many English translations of the Quran are available now? That you can right away get any translation online right away, and they are one after another. You don't have to go from one, chapter to another. All together. It's more than 50 English translation in the Quran. I know when I came to this area in 1991, how many years ago? 1991. Who is good in mathematics now? 34, mashallah, mashallah. We have so many scientists in our gathering tonight. Alhamdulillah, mathematics. Believe me, at that time, and by the way, 34 years ago, how many are less than 34 years? Raise your hand. Less than, oh my goodness, mashallah. Majority of you were not here when I arrived in this area. You were not even in this world. When I came here in this area, most of you were not in this world. SubhanAllah, alhamdulillah, welcome to this world now. You didn't see me when I came first. So try to see me at the end at least, right? When I said that this Muharram might be my last, and Dr. Ajur told me that, do you know somebody like informed you? You got it from angel? Do you think that what's going to happen? Said, no, I don't have any confirmation. But based on, when you go to cemetery, by the way, I'm not young, but I see most of these graves, young people anyway. But even every Friday that I come for Friday prayer, I said, this Friday might be my last Friday. You never know. Based on that, this Ashura might be my last Ashura. So take advantage of it, brothers and sisters. And you may not see me next Ashura. It may happen to anybody. So at that time, when I arrived here, we had a hard time to find the Quran both in Arabic and English. It was not easily found. We had a hard time to find the Quran with English translation. But now, mashallah, you have access to all of this. And we have to take advantage of it. You have the Quran with you all the time. No excuse. When Ali was reciting Surah Ar-Rahman, he said, I want to go to Camp Taha this year, with brother Hussein Charara. And we told him, Ali, okay, you can go, but at least if you memorize 2 chapters. And it was chapter Ar-Rahman, and the other chapter, what is it? Surah Al-Mulk, right? So he accepted. So he did it from memory. I think he put the Quran, but he already, was doing it at home, like from his memory. Said, but I don't want to be maybe nervous here. Let me just have it in case that I forget. But we have to encourage our children to learn the Quran, to recite the Quran. Because Quran is a light, Quran is life, Quran is philosophy, Quran is wisdom, Quran is healing, Quran is medicine, Quran is peace, Quran is hope. When I go through all of this news, and whether from Lebanon or Gaza, Iran, Yemen, all this, the only thing that provides some peace to my soul is the Quran, believe me. In the middle of the night, I just open the Quran and recite some verses from the Quran. And somehow I get the answer and relax after reciting some verses from the Quran. There's a story of people who guided through the Quran with one verse. You know that some people had this huge revolution, a huge resolution in their life after listening to one verse from the Quran. Fudayl ibn Iyad is one of them. He was a dangerous thief, very ugly, dangerous, scary guy. One day he saw a girl in the village and he fell in love, and he followed her to identify her house. And he did. In the middle of the night, he decided to go to her house. And as he was on the top of the wall of the door, he heard that somebody was reciting the Quran. أَلَمْ يَأْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Isn't it time for people who want to be faithful to humble their hearts and remember God? This ayat, Fudayl ibn Iyad, listening to this verse, that was the moment of truth. He said, yes, that is the real time. That is the right time for me to humble my heart and remember my Lord. He didn't continue. He didn't enter the house. Came back, climbed down on the floor, and continued his walking in the darkness of the night. Then he realized there was a caravan and people are talking. Somebody is saying, guys, let us settle here tonight. It's not right time to continue our journey now. Let's wait till the morning. And somebody said, why? He said, because I'm scared that for the Ibn Ayad, because he was a very, like a gangster, I'm scared that he and his group, they come and they steal our stuff. So let us wait. And Fudayl is listening to this guy. He stood up and he said, I am Fudayl ibn Ayad. I'm not that dangerous thief anymore. I change. One verse of the Quran changed my life. And please, nobody would bother you anymore. If you want to stay, stay. If you want to go, go. One verse. That Bedouin, Rajul Arabi, came to the mosque of the Holy Prophet and he said, I heard that you are saying that you are messenger of God. Allimni mimma allamaka Allah. Teach me from what your Lord taught you. What is it that you are saying? What is your message? And the Prophet recited one short chapter, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. قال يا رسول الله يا رسول الله يكفي هي أحكم آية فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة. You are telling me that if I do something right or wrong at the weight of a dharra, as light as an atom, is going to be calculated in the eyes of God. Hasbi, hiya ahkam ayah. It's enough. That's the best. That's the best that I can learn. And this is why Ashab al-Hussein, they were from this light, the light of revelation. This Muslim ibn Awsaja, he saw his friend Habib ibn Madahir in the market of Kufa, just few days before Ashura. He said, Muslim, what are you doing here in the market in Kufa? He said, I'm here to get some color. You know, I use some color, by the way. Don't think that I'm as young as like 30 years ago. And everybody says, Sheikh Elahi, you are very young, right? You didn't change. Still your beard is the same thing, right? I said, don't forget about just for men, right? There are something like that. So, and nothing wrong to have some color, right? So he said that, okay, what are you doing here? Muslim said that, I'm looking for some color for my beard. He said, Muslim, forget about these colors in the market. Let me take you somewhere. A color in Karbala. That color never disappears. Let me take you there. Both of them, Muslim and Habib, they arrived in Karbala just few days before Ashura. And on the day of examination, on the day of test, قال يا حبيب أوصيك بهذا. Muslim ibn Awsaja was on the ground, the last moments of his life. And he's saying that, Habib, let me make a wasiyah. وأشار إلى الحسين أن تموت دونه. He said, what is your wasiyah? He said, my wasiyah is that you work hard and sacrifice till the last moment of your life and the last drop of your blood to support this man. وأشار إلى الحسين قال حبيب أفعل ورب الكعبة, I swear the Lord of this Kaaba that I will do that. This is the sincerity and sacrifice and love and passion of a Quranic generation called Ashab al-Hussein. They sacrifice. They meant it because they believe. I was listening to an interview with the son of Netanyahu yesterday. He was saying he's in Miami, in Florida. And he said, you are 40 years old, you are here. He said, because I was scared in Israel. He's fighting over there. He's the son of Netanyahu. He should be like in the army there, fight with the other, in Gaza there. He said, I was scared. I was scared from my life. And for the sake of safety, I left Israel and I chose to live in Florida now. It's amazing. It was yesterday in interview. And he said that people, they think they talk about democracy in Israel. He said it's illusion. There is no democracy because the Supreme Court is following his father, said, well, they are not elected and they are not democracy. And my father is like for my father and all this nonsense. Why there is no sacrifice? How you compare? Because there is no faith here. It's about money and might and domination and hate and greed. That's it. So, brothers and sisters, it's important that as we call Imam Hussein Misbah al-Huda, the light of guidance, remember that the Quran is also light of guidance. And inshallah, I will continue tomorrow, which is Laylatul Abbas, go through some do's and don'ts in the Quran. The things that are ordered, those 10 commandments. You know that also there are 10 commandments in the Quran. It's not only in the Bible. What are the 10 commandments in the Quran? We are going to discuss that inshallah tomorrow on the night of Abbas, the Laylatul Wafa, wal Amana wal Mas'uliyah, wal Ishq, the night of love, the night of honor, the night of Qamar Bani Hashim, the night of Bab al-Hawa'ij. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, ya ibn Rasulullah, ya Rahmat Allah al-Wasi'ah, wa ya Bab al-Najat al-Ummah, ya Misbah al-Huda, wa Qurrat Ayn al-Mustafa, ya Madloom, ya Sayyid al-Shahada. Let us welcome our beloved brother, Hussein Charara, that we are really enjoying his presentations every night, presentation that is touching our hearts because it's coming from the experience with the families, with the community, with the students, with the teachers. بعد الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. All praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. May His peace and blessings be on our beloved Prophet and His Immaculate Ahl Bayt. Salawat. Thank you, Sheikh, for those wise words. And Sheikh, Elahi has been here since 91. I've never shared this. I was one of the first Muslims to go to the Dearborn Heights Public Schools. I went to Kinloch, Riverside, and I was one of the only Muslims. I was actually one of the first. My family migrated here. And it was Eid time. So we said, there's a religious holiday.
we have to take time off. And I remember the vice principal says, well, how many days is your holiday? And Eid is 1 day. I said, it's a week. My sister's here, and then my sister calls back to school, says, why is my son telling me there's no school? I said, well, he told us there's a week off. He's like, no, there's only 1 day. So that was just an interesting thing that I remembered. I want to thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, if you notice, the theme is to keep overcoming yourself. Overcome, 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 so you could become somebody that connects to Allah. You know, the Western society is all about finding yourself. That's shirk. Who cares if you find yourself? You need to find yourself in order to find who? Allah. And that's what this message is for today. Somebody sent me a message. I guess there's an app that for single women to go on and to see if a person is viable in the community. But it ended up being a gossip fest, unfortunately. And a married person sent me a picture and said, look what they're saying about me. And his wife is laughing, saying, look what's happening to my husband. And it's an interesting dynamic of gossip and jealousy, that women are trying to get married and probably using the app correctly. But look of how we use that to bring people down. And it's happening within our community. It's one of the most toxic things that you could do. So please, if you're using such apps, be careful. You know, there's apps, I forgot the name. I think it's called Ashley Madison. Don't go on it. But this app caused a peak in suicide rates. And if you go on the app, which you shouldn't, it says, life is short, have an affair. What happened is they went and exposed this website, and they took all the names of people, even people within our community, and put all their names online. So the next day, there was a huge spike in suicide rate. My advice to all of you, be very careful, because usually when somebody has, you know, it's called an inner thorn. And this is not what I was going to speak about today, but just to give you a lesson. You know, if you have a thorn and every time you touch it, it hurts, you have two options. Put a Band-Aid over the thorn, or what should you do with the thorn? Take it out. But you know, many people have an inner thorn, and they look in the future through the lens of the past. Somebody hurt me. You know, when I do marriage counseling, or somebody will come for counseling, say, what's wrong? Well, my husband hurt me. He cheated on me. How long ago? 10 years ago. So isn't it time for you to move on and let go? And if you study those 10 years, every relationship she's looked at is through the lens of the past. So she can't trust anybody because one man cheated her. So now how does she look at everybody else? As a cheater. And that's how many people live their lives when they've been abused. Thus, if you look at Imam Sajjad, what he witnessed, and I'm going to talk about, today I'm going to give you about 3 tools to use, and I'm going to give you some testimonials on the things that I've done and the things that I've not only counseled and given to adults, even our own students. I'm going to show you a picture of one today to show you what possibility looks like, where Imam Sajjad alayhi salam witnessed, and very sad. And then even to the point where he asked for water when they were going to Sham, and Shimr would dump the water on the floor and other people would dump. 1 year would go by, Imam Sajjad has his peace, has his freedom. And now he's giving water to the poor. And who does he meet in the middle of the night? That person that dumped the water a year ago, depriving the giving water of Ahl Bayt. Now I'm asking you, brothers and sisters, if you were in that situation and somebody deprived your kids water in the desert and butchered your family, what would you do a year later? What did he do? He gave them water. And then he looked up and he said, how do you help a man like me? He says, because we're of Ahl Bayt. We don't hold on to grudges. We don't have these inner thorns. So if you notice, anybody who's hurt you, forgive them. Now that doesn't mean lack justice. In Islam, justice is extremely pivotal. Allah's mercy is because of His justice, and His justice is because of His mercy. Thus, Allah is mercifully just. Even if your neighbor is taking your right, let's say he wants you to he's trying to put a fence or doing something to expose your house, like putting a light in front of your house that is illegal because it brightens up the house. You know you're not allowed to forgive him in Islam? Did you know that? Before you forgive him, what do you have to do within the deen? Seek what? Justice. But do you have to be emotionally low in order to seek justice? Meaning, do I have to have resentment to seek justice? Do I have to have jealousy to seek justice? Why is it within our community? We even had a member in our community, when I truly found Islam, it was here in this mosque. And the next day, I came and the Hajj Hassanin changed my life. And I'll talk about that in a later night. The next day, somebody says, where are you going? I said, I'm coming here to the mosque to listen to Hajj Hassanin. He's an amazing speaker. She said, I want to go. So she came, and she was a non-Muslim at the time. I said, you have to wear hijab if you come. She says, I don't care. And she sat there, and I actually sat up there. And how my life changed the first night, and we'll talk about that. The second night, what did he speak about, Hajj Hassanin? Christianity. And then she found Islam within 20 minutes. And within 3 weeks, she took her Shahada. And within the year, I married her. Well, there was a brother at the gym that I used to work out with. And everybody was saying, some of the people were telling me, you shouldn't marry a revert. You shouldn't marry this. You know, this tribalism that we have in our community. There was a time where if you were from Tibnan and somebody was from Vintage Bell, you shouldn't get married. It's like somebody's in Dearborn, you shouldn't marry somebody from Dearborn Heights. Look at the foolishness. There was a brother who came to me and said, see all these people who are giving you marriage advice? Says, I know them all. Says, they're all living horrible marriages. They're all miserable. And misery brings company. And if you notice, when you try to elevate yourself for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you have to change things about yourself. But let's say you're down here with your friends and you elevate yourself. What is easier for your friends to do? To change and come up with you and change your habits, or do what? Bring you down. Which one is easier? Bring you down. So you notice the higher you go, the less friends you're going to have. Brothers, go and ask your parents, how many friends do you have that you could trust, that will protect you even when you do wrong? They say very few. That same brother, look at the jealousy, the envy in the community. Owned a gas station. And him and his brother owned a gas station, and there was a gas station across the street. So they would sell gas for, let's say, $2.99 a gallon. The gas station across the street decided to put it for $2.49 a gallon. Then he decided to put it for almost 99 cents a gallon, meaning every time somebody pumped a gallon of gas, they would lose $2. The brother went across the street to speak to him and said, what are you doing? The person that was changing the sign hit his brother because his brother went across the street. So the brother came to protect his brother. The owner grabbed the gun and shot them both. The one brother, 5 kids, orphan, over pennies. Over what? Envy, jealousy, hasad. Brothers and sisters, we all have the potential. 5 kids, orphan, within a second. And he was one of the kindest brothers I ever met. Salawat. So how do we remove this? One of the ways to remove the evil eye, and I swear I wasn't going to speak about this, is whenever you deal with jealousy, you know, you wear the akik. It's important. There's special prayers that you could do. But what is the number one thing that you could do with people's jealousy? Because think about it. There was no suffering, there was pain. But suffering from the Prophet, no, there was pain. What does that mean? Let's say you write a book. Think about it. Let's say you wrote a book for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and millions of people found it and loved it and changed because of it. And they loved the book. It became a New York Times bestseller. But there was one thing that happened. Somebody took the book from you and you were not the author of the book. What would you do? What was the goal? To change lives. Goal accomplished. Would you be sad So that's the question. If you did it for Allah, would you be sad? No. Thus, the importance of the way the Prophet would look at people. People would take things from the Prophet, hurt the Prophet, speak bad about the Prophet. The Prophet would be able to see in their soul. He would go and get justice, but he'd go pray for them because he'd see the fire in their soul. Brothers and sisters, whenever somebody tries to hurt you, goes on social media, backbites you, it's because they're hurt. And if you're able to see that, you would feel so much pity for them that you wouldn't care about your own pain. You all have the potential to do that. Imagine if you had a child that was mentally ill and he slapped you. Would you be upset at that child? You'd give them excuses. So why can't we give insan excuses when they hurt? Get justice, but never come down to their level and hold on to resentment. And now you're picking up 22 people telling them about this person. Or you're going on the social media. It could destroy marriages, character assassination. It's one of the worst sins. Imam Sajjad, person came to him and said, you know, this person is backbiting you. He spoke so bad of you. Imam Sajjad says, wait. Imam Zayn says, wait, I'll be right back. He grabs him fruit and he gives him this fruit basket. He says, is this for me? He said, no. Go give it to the person that spoke bad about me. Do we have that character? Maybe somebody misinformed him. So the person got excited. Listen to this, brothers and sisters. I tell you, as much as I'm big into Joe Dispenza, and I'm big into healings and big into meditation, but I'm telling you, there's nothing close to the way of the Quran and Ahl Bayt. Nothing. So he says, what do I get? If you gave him a fruit basket, what do I get? He says, you get nothing. He said, why? He says, because that person shot an arrow, it missed. You took that arrow and stabbed me in the heart with it. You made sure it hit. And we have so many members of that in our community. Where somebody whispers something, you want to make sure you take it. Where the angels have been trying to block it, but you make sure you take Shaitan's work, pick up the phone, and you continue. And try it. You know, if I tell this person right here, elephants eat crocodiles. And then she tells this person, this person tells this person. By the time it gets here, it'll be Sheikh Elahi is at Mars. It'll be a completely different story. Why? Because we love to add sugar and spice. So I'm going to give you some stories. There was a person at an airport, and he had cookies, 5 cookies. Think about this. He sits down, he's waiting for his flight, and a person comes and grabs the cookies, opens it, and eats a cookie. So now imagine you're at the airport, you're eating, you have these cookies, a stranger takes them. So he takes the cookie back and eats one. So how many cookies are left? 3. So then the stranger eats a cookie. How many cookies are left? 2. So he says, okay, I'm going to eat a cookie. I want to see what he does. So how many cookies are left now? 1. So what does the stranger do? He takes the cookie, splits it in half, gives it to him, and walks away. So now, if you were that person and you were waiting for your flight, what would you do? Why would this person do this to me? How does a stranger come and take my cookie? What's wrong with this person? Because you notice when somebody does something wrong to you, you blame them. Yes or no? Rarely do you give them excuses, right? So he didn't give them excuses. It's a life lesson. It's a lesson that I've learned to apply in my own life, inshallah. So then the person hears that his flight is there and gets up and he picks up his suitcase, and under his suitcase are cookies in a package, unopened. Guess whose cookies those were? His. The whole time he was eating the stranger's cookies. And was the stranger okay with it? Not only was he okay with it, he split it with him and he didn't complain once. And then he asked himself, why can't I be with like that stranger? Why is it I'm always looking for a reason to be angry? What is wrong with our community that we'll kill each other even for gas, for money, for dollars. You know, there's been brothers in this community. I go and when I visit the cemetery and I say Fatiha for my family members. There's a grave that I only see this mother. And how did she go and say Fatiha for her son? Her son was playing basketball on Schaefer. Basketball. Look at envy, anger, how destructive it is. Playing basketball. The one guy elbows the other guy says, stop elbowing me. And the other guy says, well, what are you going to do about it? He says, listen, I'm twice your size, stop elbowing me. He elbows him again. Sheikh Hisham was actually there outside the mosque. He elbows him again. So what does the guy decide to do is push him. So what if his friends do? They're laughing at him, saying, why are you picking on this big guy? Stop pushing him. This happened in our community not too long ago. So that guy goes into the car, grabs a gun, and says, you want to laugh? Shoots him. The guy says, stop. And the guy's running, shoots him again, kills him. Over what? Putting a stupid ball in a hoop. Look how Shaitan gets us. Who's at his cemetery all the time praying for him? Rarely do I see anybody else but his parents, especially his mother. For what? Jealousy, envy. Somebody got the best of me. I must get him back. Why is it we don't have the art of giving people excuses? What is wrong with us as an ummah? If you go to a mosque, if I show you even within Sheikh Elahi or the other scholars that run mosques, so many people are trying to encourage. But why is it there's always another crowd that's trying to bring them down? For what? He's been here since 91. Sheikh Elahi could have done anything. Yes or no? Could have started a business. He could have done anything he wanted that he gave attention to. He decided to give his life for the ummah to save youth and generation. You know, when we speak about Wise Academy or Camp Taha, do you know how all of that started? Because of this mosque. Because I came here, my life changed. That one change manifested all these things. I'm living proof of it. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect. You know who the scariest people in the world are? Be careful of them. The people that pose to be perfect, that they don't want to show any flaws. Be scary of such people. Because even the prophets of God who were perfect didn't even act like that. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Wow. I want to share one more, then we'll go to the main part. There was a brother, who's one of the best sellers, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. They asked him, how did you start this book? He said, one event. He says, I was on a bus. It's a true story. And there was these kids running around. If you want to be a follower of Ahl al-Bayt, this is the level that we need to get to. And I'm going to give you tools on how to do it. So he sees these kids running around and he yells at them and says, what's wrong with you? Why are you guys running around the bus? You keep kicking me in my suitcase. Where are your parents? So he goes around and he sees a person and says, are these your kids? They're running around everywhere. What are you doing? Remember, in Islam, you never blame the person first. You blame the situation. When you do something wrong, you blame yourself, never the situation. So if somebody does something, you blame the situation. If you do the same thing, what do? Oh, it was because of my husband I did this. It was because of my parents or the teacher. Why did you flunk? Why did you do bad in school? Why didn't you do good in class? Who do we typically blame before we take blame? You come home and all these poor teachers in our community are all being backbit because you're saying how bad. And then you go and meet the teacher and the teacher's like, if that were the case, then why did these other 22 students get an A and your son got an E? So we learn this habit of blaming everybody else except who? Ourselves. But when somebody wrongs us, we blame them, never the situation. So that's what this person did. He goes on a bus. He sees everybody, all these kids running. He goes to the father and yells at him. Says, what are you doing? Your kids are running around. They're kicking everybody, disturbing. He wakes up from a daze. He says, we just came back from the hospital. My wife just died. I don't know what to do. He said he felt this small. He says, why did he need to tell me that for me to feel compassion? That is the way of Ahlul Bayt, where you don't need to be told something in order for your ego to feel good, then you give them compassion. Practice it through the day, compassion. Somebody cuts you off, give them an excuse. You know these poor restaurants in the community, you order eggs and they bring you salad. Just eat the salad. You go to restaurants. I was at a restaurant 2 days ago. I'm so happy my kids didn't go in. The restaurant was packed. And there was a guy that got his wrong. He ordered a shawarma. He got a meat shawarma. He wanted a chicken. He said, I waited a half hour, and he's screaming. And he runs out, and guess who walks behind him? His son. And I'm looking. I said, how do you think this kid is going to be? I was once speaking in Toronto, and I was walking, and this kid bumps into me. He looks at me and says, what? It was the beginning of the lecture. We're going in. So then I asked Allah, I wonder who's his father. At the end of the lecture, person comes into me. And by the way, this kid bumped into me. He was eating one of those sweets. He ate it and threw half of it on the floor. I witnessed this. I go, who's his father? I come back. The lecture is over. A bigger man bumps into me. He looks at me, doesn't say. Then he yells, hey, let's go. Guess who he yelled at? His son. So where did he learn that behavior? From his father. And Allah showed me, you're going to have kids one day. If you become like that, your kids will become the same. You know, I've only yelled at my kids that I remember. And I have a 14-year-old, 13-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And in regards to my daughters, I've only yelled at them probably 3 times. One time, my kids were doing puzzles. And my other 2 kids were doing puzzles, and they were screaming, and I yelled at them, stop! What's wrong with you? My daughter looked at me like I was a creature. And some of us, we do it every day. Your kids don't look at you as human beings. They don't trust you subconsciously. They've done studies on that. That's why they keep secrets from you, by the way. And then you'll blame your kids instead of blaming yourself. You notice when parents catch their kids doing haram in the community, who do they first want to blame? Their friends, everything else. But when they come to my office and they bring me a kid that's lost in sin, who am I giving that hour lecture to? Wallahi, I've never lectured a kid when a parent comes. I'm lecturing who? Parent. Because when the parent changes their personality, the reality changes. What does a parent want? She wants everybody else to change except who? Herself. So my daughter looks at me and says, you're mean. She takes and we were working on this puzzle for an hour. She's here. She's right here. She remembers. And we were doing this puzzle for an hour. And she takes it apart. She says, I'm done playing with you. Puts the puzzle, breaks all the puzzle pieces, goes in her room. Wallahi, I went in my room and I cried for an hour. Said, I read the Holy Quran and I behave like that? How do I put my head in sujood and I treat people like that? You know, La takuluna ma la tafla'un. Don't say that what you don't do. It's the most detestable thing to Allah. There's been a few times in my life where I wanted to stop doing the work. That was one of them, saying, I never want to be in the bottom pits. There was another situation, and let me share, because I didn't even start the lecture. Let me share one thing, and then inshallah we'll give some tips, and then tomorrow I will share. Allah says, no calamity or blessings occur on earth or in yourselves without being written in a record. Meaning, Allah has created you an infinite amount of potentials. Infinite. You have the potential of robbing a bank. You have the potential of killing somebody after playing basketball. You have the potential of going to Hajj. You have the potential of going to Gaza and helping people. Allah has created your destiny. When He breathed His Spirit into you, all your potentials exist because there's no time in Allah. And there's so many ayahs to show that. So do you realize all your potentials already exist? So how do they come to form in this world? What do? Is you just give it attention. How? Through dhikr. So there's a sister who said, I'll show you a picture, then I'm going to give you the tools because we're out of time. And I'm sorry, I'll do this lecture for tomorrow. There was a sister who said, I want to become a pilot. And her mom, I knew her mom, she was the Islamic teacher at our school, she still is. She says, but my mom won't let me be a pilot. So whenever somebody comes and asks me to do something, the first question that I say, brothers and sisters, that's all you need. What's the question that you should ask somebody when they say they want to do something? It's in the Holy Quran. Who knows? Did you ask Allah? That's it. I'm going to give you the tools on how to ask. I said, so she said, how? So our scholars say, when you are doing your prayers, and this is one of the tips that I gave her, I'm going to give you 2 tips today, and then we'll end. Well, I was going to talk about Muslim ibn Aqil, but Sayyid Ali, inshallah, we'll continue. Sayyid, I'm just going to go a few minutes with your permission. I said, what you do, our scholars say this, because when a person came to the Prophet, the person says, what can I give you? The person says, I want heaven. The Prophet said, want me to show you how to get heaven? I said, how? Lengthen your sujood. What does that mean? Prayer is not to be a robotic prayer. Imagine you go to your mom says, how's everything? Good. How's the food? Good. What else? I love you. What else? Okay. You sound like a robot. Do you know our scholars and the Prophet said, that's not my prayer. Don't pray that way. Your prayer needs to be rhythmic. So he told the person, you could be resurrected as a Jew or Christian. If you want to make sure you're resurrected as a Muslim, because you're born Muslim, that was by birth. You want to make sure you die a Muslim by choice. Many people are Muslim by birth, not by choice. And we'll speak about that. He said, you go into sujood and you lengthen it. Say it 3 times. Subhana Rabbi ala wa bihamdi. Glory, subhana to you, Allah. Rabbi, Allah, you are my nurturer. I just need you. And you go and you say it in a rhythmic way, at least 3 times. Sometimes our scholars would go and sometimes they'd recite it 100 times during prayer. And they'd experience a mystical event. So that was the first advice I gave her. The second advice I gave her, because what did she want to be? A pilot. So I said, that's the first thing. And then when you're doing wudu, Imam Ali alayhi salam would tell his son, this is how you do your wudu. When you wipe your face, you say, oh Allah, make sure I'm not the ones that has sad faces on a day of judgment. Oh Allah, make sure I'm the one that holds the book on the right hand. Because if you're holding your book on the right hand when you wake up from the trumpet, guess what? You're okay. Oh Allah, make sure I'm not the one holding the book on the left hand. Oh Allah, make sure I'm purified through you. And oh Allah, when you wipe your feet, make sure these feet are stable on a day of judgment. So those were the 2 types of advice that I give her. And I give you the same advice. Lengthen your sujood and do dhikr while you're doing wudu. And then after, speak to Allah. Envision yourself emotionally. Instead of you say, how do I do it? You notice the emotions that you feel. Like a person says, I got over my ex-husband. Really? If I put your ex-husband next to you, how would you feel? Well, I'd feel anger. Well, imagine the emotions if you're holding on to resentment every day. So what did she do? I said, now what are the emotions it'd feel to be flying a plane? She said, oh, that would be amazing. I said, I want you to feel those emotions and envision that. She said, okay. So then she had a vision where she should contact Eastern Michigan. She contacted the aviation program. Then she told them, come, I want to meet your mom, because she told them the story. And then she told the mom, the pilot says, come, get in the plane. I want to show you what your daughter would be flying. He gets in the plane. What does he decide to do? He takes off. That's her flying the plane. This is our student. 1 week later, she's 10,000 feet in the air. Guess who's in the back reciting dua? Her mom. And she went on ahead to be going on the pilot aviation program. But what did she do first? She asked Allah. So those are the 2. So I'm going to end with this hadith. No, well, Imam Sajjad said, when you do these things, and out of these four, just make sure you're all four. He said, the people of paradise have four characters. So every time I say one of them, ask yourself, at a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate yourself? Because if you want to have a friend like this, so if you want to have a friend like this, you need to make sure you're what? You're like that. So Imam Sajjad Nehru said, the people of paradise have four signs: a smiling and open face, an expressive tongue, a heart full of love, and a generous giving hand. What were the four? What was the first? Smiling face. What was the second? Expressive tongue. What was the third? Heart full of. And what was the fourth? Generous hand. Do you have all four? Talk to the person next to you. Out of the three things, this, lengthen your sujood, or paying attention to your wudu, which one will you focus more on so Allah can manifest your dreams just like that sister got of flying a plane? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Can we have another salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad? So last night we remembered the story of the two children who were killed brutally, and they were the children of Muslim bin Aqil. And tonight we are going to be talking about him himself, the warrior who was madloom and betrayed. Muslim bin Aqil, he was sent by Imam Hussein alayhi salam to go towards Kufa and gather support for the Imam. And upon his arrival into the city, once housed the caliphate of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The people welcomed him with open arms, supported him and praying behind him. And of course, they gave allegiance to Imam al-Hussein through Muslim bin Aqil. And he led the salah and many flocked towards him. And upon seeing the number of mu'mineen who were ready to help Imam al-Hussein, his dear cousin, Muslim sent a letter informing the Imam of the oath of allegiance which the majority of the people of Kufa gave. The letter proceeding to invite the Imam towards the city in order to guide the Ummah. Now, bin Ziyad, the governor of Kufa at that time, had already previously earned a very bad reputation for being very cunning and cruel whilst he was the governor of Basra. This is South Iraq. He later became the governor of Kufa. He issued an order proclaiming that anyone found assisting or speaking with Muslim would be beheaded. And the next morning, after Salat al-Fajr, Ubaydullah bin Ziyad issued this statement, and he gave people a reward. If you find Muslim, dead or alive, they will be rewarded accordingly. He continued to threaten anybody who provided sanctuary to Muslim or his companions. Muslim supporters within Kufa were becoming more and more frightened by these threats of their killing. And there was a number of deceitful tactics used by Ubaydullah to try and squash the uprising by the Kufans. And many of the loyal companions of Muslim were imprisoned. Until one day, following Salah in the Masjid, when Muslim finished his prayers and turned towards the congregation, only to see a handful remaining over the fear of the approaching enemy. And whichever house Muslim would seek refuge in, the owners would be killed. There were countless number of spies within Kufa who at the sight of a single dirham would sell Muslim out. Wa ghariba wa madluma. Thirsty and grieving, Muslim wandered the streets of Kufa. After some time, Muslim sat outside the house to rest and seek shelter. A woman emerged, asked why a stranger man had taken refuge outside her house. She asked him to go, but when he remained, she questioned him on his identity and learned it was none other than Muslim, the representative of her Imam. She invited him in and she provided him water and sanctuary until her son, a soldier from the army of bin Ziyad, came home and found Muslim there. He informed bin Ziyad, who dispatched 300 of his men to go capture Muslim. Bin Aqil came out to face the men, but bravely killing a large number of them in one-to-one combat. And news reached bin Ziyad that the army needed reinforcements, who was confused by the ability of his men just to capture one man. The commander replied, saying, "We are not after a petty shopkeeper. We are encountering a lion from the family of Bani Hashim. If you are so brave, you may yourself come and conduct the operation." More men were sent and they were instructed to capture Muslim by any means necessary. And Muslims still fought valiantly until from the rooftops burning torches were thrown down upon him. What could one man do against an army, against fire being thrown at him? The enemy dug a trench around him, and soon Muslim fell down into the trench. The enemy of Allah offered Muslim a truce if he emerged, to which he called out, "I am afraid you will not be able to keep up your promise or provide me any safety. Therefore, as a last wish, I ask you to convey the message to Imam al-Hussein, to Aba Abdullah, that the people of Kufa have betrayed us, and that al-Hussein should avoid Kufa and go to some other place." Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ad took Muslim to Ubaydallah's palace and said that he had promised protection to him. Bin Ziyad became angry and asked, "Who has authorized you to give any guarantee of protection? Your duty was to bring Muslim here, and you have nothing else to do now." Muslim repeated requests for water, and they were denied until finally a cup was brought to him. As he was trying to drink, the cup was filled with the blood from the beaten face of Muslim, and he was not able to drink this water. He realized at this moment he will be martyred thirsty. He then began to narrate his last will to Umar bin Sa'd and bin Ziyad. He requested his debts to be paid off using the funds left in Medina. He then goes on to request an Islamic burial, and finally the word sent to Hussein to not to come to Kufa. Bin Ziyad replied by saying, "You may deal with your money as you please. As for Hussein, we will do what we intend to do. And as for your dead body, why you bother about what is done to it?" He then proceeded to curse Muslim and the Imam, accusing them of dividing the Ummah. Muslim replied that they were the ones who usurped the rights of the Ahlul Bayt and were breaking the divine laws of Islam. Bin Ziyad became angry and said, "I see that you shall be killed in a manner in which no one will ever be killed in the history of Islam." To this Muslim replied, "You are a hard-hearted tyrant and a heathen capable of such innovations. Ajarakumullah." Bin Ziyad then ordered the death, and Bukhair bin Hamran lifted his sword and beheaded Muslim bin Aqil. But they did not stop there. No, the wretched tyrant, drunk on hatred and power, was determined that Muslims' martyrdom would be like no other. He wanted to make a spectacle, a statement, a horror that would echo through Kufa. So they took the blessed body of a Muslim and dragged it to the roof of the palace, and from a great height they threw it down. They hurled the sacred body into the marketplace. But even that wasn't enough. Then they took his noble severed head, radiating with the light of the Ahlul Bayt, placed it upon a lance and sent it as a gift to Yazid. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Please stand up and take part in the Azza, and not just the children take part in the Azza, the parents as well, and the adults, please join in the recitation. Jazakumullah khaira jaza. يا حسين ومصابة 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 يا حسين لودا يا حسين ومصابة يا حسين يا خويا ويا
روحي الهادي. Adults as well. يا حسين ومصاب زينب توين وتنادي. يا حسين ومصاب يا حسين يا الذكرك بطرف لساني. يا حسين يا حسين ومصاب وحاشاك لليوم الوعد تنساني. louder. يا وحاشاك لليوم الوعد تنساني. يا حسين ولجل العين سد شابه. يا أجركم الله جزاكم الله خير الجزاء. Muslim I see your misery. 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 Everyone Muslim I see your misery. Muslim I see your misery. Louder. Muslim I see your misery. With my hand. Muslim I see your misery. Louder here. Muslim I see your misery. Higher. Muslim I see your misery. Girls, louder. Muslim I. Louder. Higher. Your misery. Everyone. Muslim I see your misery. I sent my confidants, Muslim reports to me. Obedience to him is obedience to me. Such is my trust in him. Listen to him carefully. Give to him all your support. He's your guest in the city. History tells his name it spells. History tells his name it spells. Muslim, Muslim, I see your misery. Muslim, I. Needs to be much louder. Much louder. Muslim, I see your misery. And the guest is your trust, blessing from the Almighty. Fulfill your promises, then I will come shortly. Muslim is your example. I don't trust just anyone. I sent him because I know loyalty you will learn. History tells his name it spells. History tells his name it spells. Muslim, Muslim, my. Girls, louder. Louder, louder. Your misery. Again, Muslim, I see your misery. Muslim, I see your misery. He is a role model. Only he can discern the dedicated ones. My leadership you must earn. Trust is highly regarded. To Allah's your return. So be mindful of him. In the path of truth be firm. History tells his name it spells. History tells his name it spells. Muslim, Muslim, I see your misery. Muslim, I see your misery. Come on, Muslim, Muslim, I see. In the near future we'll see Muslim lives honorably. He could finish Bin Ziyad in the house of honey. Bin Ziyad is seated Muslim, he doesn't fight. Faith ends where murder begins. He stays with integrity. History tells his name it spells. History tells his name it spells. Muslim, Muslim, I see. Muslim, I see your misery. Muslim, Muslim. Muslim, I see your misery. Muslim means one who submits. He submitted willingly, letting Bin Ziyad go. He taught us bravery. Muslim, even in the end, didn't forget his loan and made sure it was paid before you would be thrown. History tells his name it spells. History tells his name it spells. Muslim, I see. Louder! Hey, Muslim, I see your misery. Muslim, your misery. Muslim, I see your misery. From atop that high palace, honesty you did show. Now we all say today a Muslim is always known by the scent of honesty. This belief you have shown in a heart so honest. One piece to your golden dome. History tells his name it spells. History tells his name it spells. Muslim, I see. Louder! I see your misery. Muslim, Muslim, I see your misery. I am here, Hussein, Hussein Aba Abdullah. I am here, Hussein, Hussein Aba Abdullah. Louder! I am here, Hussein, Hussein Aba Abdullah. I am here, Hussein, Hussein Aba Abdullah. Louder, girls! I am here, Hussein, Hussein Aba Abdullah, I am here. Hussein Aba Abdullah with armor, big and bruised young feet. The battle's harshness Qasim did meet. Ultim with great pain at last him you'll greet. Soon in your arms Qasim will bleed. There he stood paying his each due, and whilst at him arrows they threw, his last glance tore your hearts in two. God's service is all you both knew. We aim like Qasim from young age to fight your enemy center stage. I am here, I am here, Hussein. Much louder. Hussein Aba Abdullah, I am Hussein. Hussein Aba Abdullah, one by one your men would all fall. Alone you stood hearing their last call. Then one voice echoed oh so loud, a voice that's promised to make you proud. Al-Abbas was standing so brave, and to their bribes he refused to cave. He promised even in his grave that your flag he will forever wave. So let them take our left and right, like Al-Abbas will fight for your plight. I am here, I am here, Hussein. Hussein Aba, I can't hear you. I am. Girls, I can't hear. Hussein Aba Abdullah, I am here. What's more dear to parents than kin? In them you see your own heart and skin. So what if that skin was ripped apart, and in them you find no beating heart? Oh Hussein, your hardest goodbyes, seeing life fade from your children's eyes, paying the ultimate sacrifice. Asghar and Akbar faced their demise. That day you cried, blood anguish cries. So today as your children we rise. I am here, I am here, Hussein. Hussein Aba Abdullah, I am. Louder, louder, again. I am. And as you lay upon those plains, you hear in the background muffled chains. All surrounds are the body remains, lone horses with no soldiers on reins, and on your neck a blunt knife gnaws, gripped by your beard on your clenched jaws. Louder you hear the enemy applause. The time must be to face your Lord. That day you died alone and estranged, but we live to avenge you, Hussein. I am here, Hussein. Hussein Aba Abdullah, I am here, Hussein. Hussein Aba Abdullah, I am here, Hussein. Hussein Aba Abdullah, I am here, Hussein. Hussein Aba Abdullah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أحسنتم. Please face the Qibla for دعاء الفرج. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصل يا رب على محمد وآل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين.